So I'm often asked, where do I buy my books from, especially in my book hauls where I show you guys books that I got for really, sometimes ridiculously cheap. So today I decided to answer this specific question for you and tell you where I buy my books from. So I'm going to be answering this question in parts based on these three different categories: price, availability, and convenience. So let's start out with price. Money. Money is a big issue, and I'm sure that a lot of you can empathize with me. There are so many books out there that you want to get, but sometimes money doesn't allow this to happen. Now this means that if I want to buy a lot of books at once, I usually try and seek cheaper books, obviously, because saving a bit of money is always a good thing. And the main place I go to for this is online. Australia is ridiculously expensive when it comes to books. Our paperbacks can range from $15 to $20. New releases are often $25 in big bookstores like Dymocks, and hardcovers are so rare here, and even then they're really expensive and are upwards of $30. So if I'm planning on buying a bunch of books at once, I resort to online retailers because they are a lot cheaper. Now, first and foremost, the place that I buy my books from probably the most is the book depository. Generally, I'm able to find books for at least half of the price that they are in my local bookstore, so I'm able to buy more books for my money. Plus, there's also the fact that they have free shipping, which is awesome because shipping is a huge pain in the butt and also the reason why I don't use Amazon. Secondly, I have Booktopia. This is an Australian-based online bookseller. Now, they do charge shipping, and I'm not entirely sure where they ship to, but I only ever purchase online when they're not actually charging free shipping. Once you've registered, they will always send you an email when some event is happening or it's a holiday or something like that, and they have this promotion where it's free shipping for all of the books. So I take advantage of this when I can, and bam, 2 days later I've got them because I'm not having to wait a couple of weeks for them to ship from the United States or Britain. There are, however, some physical bookstores that I know of that do have some really cheap books. There aren't any really close by. I do have to travel a little bit away to get there, and it can be a little bit inconvenient. But if I want to go exploring and looking for books that I can get for like $2, then sometimes I will make the effort. And the one that I do have in mind is Basement Books. It's in the city, and there's so many cheap books. All of them are in really good condition. Most of the books do have a black mark on the bottom of the book though, but apart from that, they are in great condition and you're able to find really cheap books, which is awesome. Now I'm moving on to availability, and this comes in two parts. Firstly, I'm not always able to get the book that I want from my local bookstore. Sometimes they just don't have it, they don't stock it, particularly when this book is not quite as well known. And because of this, usually I will also resort to these online bookstores. But sometimes these online bookstores don't have them in stock. For example, I've been looking for Pretties, this edition of Pretties by Scott Westerfeld, for months and months, but I cannot for the life of me find it anywhere. This paperback edition with like the faces on the covers and everything, I cannot find it. I've looked up on the book depository, they don't have any in stock, and it's getting difficult. For this one, I still haven't been able to find that edition yet, but with some of my other books, when they're not available in my local bookstore or from the book depository or Booktopia, I have to find other places to get them, including Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any other online bookseller. And more often than not, this means that I have to whip out a little extra money to ship it home if I'm really desperate for it. But the second part for this one is finding rare or quirky books, and this is where secondhand bookstores and thrift stores come into play. There's a local secondhand bookstore near me. It is pretty pricey for a secondhand bookstore. A lot of the books are pretty much on par with the retail price here in Australia, but you can find some real gems. Usually when I do go looking in these secondhand bookstores, I don't actually have a specific book in mind. I'm just having a look around to see what there is and what gems I can find. And when it comes to Australia, sometimes you are lucky and you're able to find quite a few books that are relatively cheap, but from my experience in America, I know that overall they're just a lot cheaper. I really wish it was like that here in Australia, but unfortunately we like to charge ridiculous prices for our books, even when they are secondhand. So yeah. And finally, my third part for this video is convenience. This mostly applies to sequels. I finish reading the first book in a series, or even the second or third book in the series, or anything like that, but I am absolutely in love with it. I was so drawn in, and I really want to continue on with the story. Now, this often means that I can't rely on my cheap options, buying them online, because it's going to take 2 weeks to get here, and if I want to read them right now, it's just not going to really work out. So this is where my local bookstores come in. First and foremost, I always check out Dymocks because it has probably the widest selection out of the bookstores near me, and although they are a little more pricey, I like it. I like it, okay? I will also check out department stores like Big W or Kmart or Target, because although it's not a huge selection, they do have quite a few books and a fair amount. Not a huge variety, but a fair amount of young adult books. And in these department stores, they are quite cheaper than they are in Dymocks. For example, a paperback in Big W, you can usually find some for about $12 rather than corresponding $18 or $19 in Dymocks. So that way I am able to save a little money, but it's a little more difficult to find the books that I actually want. So those are the places that I buy my books from. I hope this was helpful to you guys, especially to my Australian viewers who often ask me where they can buy books really cheap from in Australia, because they're just redonkulously priced here. It's sad. So I will leave the links to the online bookstores that I mentioned down below, and any others that I forgot to mention that I have used in the past I will link down below as well. But what about you guys? Where do you buy your books from, and what's your favourite bookstore to buy your books from? So yes, this is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!